Guys, it's me, it's Queen Said Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. All right, guys, so someone asked me in the comment section, she said she knows a lot of Aquarius. And she said that most of us are pretty much similar, intellectual, eccentric, not too emotional. But she said every once in a blue moon, she meets an overly emotional Aquarius. And she's like, where did this kind of energy come from? So she asked me, why are some Aquarius, a few, overly emotional? Now, this does happen. Any sun sign you are, there could be a person in your sun sign that is lacking some of the specific characteristics. Because one of the things I've always tried to impress upon people is that astrology is not about your sun sign. It's not about the day you were born. It's about everything. It's about where all the heavenly bodies were when you were born. The sun, the moon, Venus, Jupiter, everything. Where was everything placed at the second that you came into the world? All that information is you, not just I'm a Virgo. Well, what kind of Virgo? I'm an Aquarius. Well, what kind? Are you a first decan? Are you a second decan? Are you a third decan? Do you have a water moon? Do you have a earth rising? It's too many questions. It's a lot of questions than what day were you born. It's a lot more than just that. And most people who don't like astrology or who don't understand astrology are coming from the standpoint that they really don't understand that it's more to it than they believe. So it's very common to meet a person whose characteristics are a little bit different. But in this case, meeting the overly emotional Aquarius is pretty rare. I would say 1 or 2 out of 10 Aquarius may be this overly emotional kind. And I'm going to tell you some of the times when this happens. These are the top 3 times when this happens. Number 1, when you have an Aquarius who's like me, like some of you guys already know this, I call myself a dragon. I call myself a dragon because I have air and fire. Almost my entire chart is air or fire. I have 1 earth placement and 1 water placement. Everything else is air and fire out of all the 15 or 20 or so placements. So somebody like me is a very airy, fiery person. So an air fire person has a lot of passion, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, and is usually very intense. Okay? Now, they don't always have to be angry and fiery and frustrated, but it's usually easier. Like, we're usually closer to it. It's easier for us to get angry. It's easier for us to get frustrated. But most of us don't stay angry. We get mad quick and we come down fast. So it's kind of a trade-off. Anyway, out of us, the air fire people, you will get a lot of passion. You will get sometimes a lot of anger, sometimes a lot of arguments. You'll get a lot of intensity from us. So a lot of times we are overly emotional in those ways. And those of us who are air fire, because of the fact that we're very expressive. The fire makes us very expressive. So we're more likely to express how we feel about things. And I know for me, I can't hold back. When I really think something and feel something, I am calculating enough and cunning enough that if I need to hold something back, like I tell you before, if I gotta keep a secret, if I gotta hold something back, I can. But a lot of times it's not always easy to hold back very intense emotions. So somebody like me, you might see snapping, especially in my younger days. Now, probably not now, possibly, but maybe not. But in my younger days, definitely would see me snapping, cussing somebody out, gripping somebody up. You might see me cry. I'm that kind of Aquarius. As I got older, I got more in control of my feelings and my emotions and how to express them in a healthy way. So that's really where the change comes in as some of us get older. So you will find air, fire, Aquarius who are emotional in those ways. Now, our emotion is pretty high, like I said, because of the intensity. But then the second one is even worse. The air water Aquarius. Oh my God. If you are an Aquarius and you have a lot of water placements, like a Pisces moon or a Cancer rising sign, if you have a lot of water in your chart and you're Aquarius, some of the times they do have the tendency to be overly emotional, even more so than the air fire, because they have a lot of sadness. They have a lot of like crying. They have a lot of the blues. I don't usually like dealing with that because that's too much for me. You start crying, you'll make me cry. You know, I can't deal with that. If I'm the kind of person that if a song comes on that's sad, I might cry. If a movie comes on that's sad, I might cry. If you start whining and boo-hooing, you might make me cry. So if you got an air water placement, a lot of them, can't be around when that water starts flowing too hard, okay? Too hard, too long, I might drown, okay? So an Aquarius with a lot of air and water placements has a tendency to be very overly emotional. They might have some anger, they might have some frustration, but most of the time what I see with them is sadness. I see a lot of sadness, a lot of depression, shit like that. I can't. That whole vibration is heavy. It just pulls me down. I can't do it. So you will see that, and they are the ones who are most likely to be overly emotional in that particular sense. So you got those two. The other ones, the air, earth, and the air people, they are the ones who have the tendency to have the least amount of emotion in that area, the least amount of that problem. The air earth ones, they have some other issues, but the air ones, oh my God, the air ones, they're all over the place, but they don't seem to have those problems like we do. The third time that this happens strongly with an Aquarius is when they're just an emotionally disturbed Aquarius. Some people just got emotional problems. I mean, they either were born with them or they developed them through traumas. And these kinds of people, especially when you're an Aquarius, they may present as overly emotional. The flip side of that is underly emotional. Some of them appear, like I said, to have almost no emotion. Even though they do have it, you don't see none of it. Something can happen, like somebody can get shot right in front of them, and they'll just be sitting there like no affect, nothing to come out, But it's not because of the fact that there is no emotion there. It's because they're emotionally disturbed. So they have a hard time processing or even having the emotion, letting it come up. It might be there, but they might not release it. And on the flip of that, like I said, is the ones that are going to be overly emotional. So they're emotionally disturbed and everything sets them off. Everything makes them cry. Everything makes them angry. Everything makes them frustrated. Everything is a problem. They get cut off in traffic. It ruins their whole day. A person who's emotionally disturbed of any sun sign may appear overly or underly emotional. So some of the Aquarius may just be emotionally disturbed. And I don't suggest being, I suggest being careful with an emotionally disturbed person. Be very careful with them. These are the kinds of people that tell lies. These are the kinds of people, just to get attention or to feel better. An emotionally disturbed person will really do anything, anything their emotions tell them to do at that moment. And you all know emotions are not logical. So I used to teach in special education, and I had students who were emotionally disturbed or needed emotional support, they call it. And these students used to be really freaking smart. It used to kill me how smart they were. But some of them just had the worst impulse control. And some of them just had a hard time processing their emotions. Some of them had a hard time not just blurting their emotions out. If they were hungry, sad, whatever the emotion was, they had a hard time not just blurting it out, So when a person is emotionally disturbed, you may see this overly emotional behavior. And when it's an Aquarius, it's going to look weird because you're sitting there looking at them like, aren't you Aquarius? What are you doing? But that's what it is. They're just emotionally disturbed. And anybody can be emotionally disturbed. You can have an emotionally disturbed anything, Aquarius, Capricorn, Sag, Cancer, you name it. So anybody can be emotionally disturbed. So you may come across those people. But generally, if I meet an overly emotional Aquarius and I ask them questions about like, what's your sun sign, what's your moon sign, what's your rising sign, if I start to like really probe into them, generally what I find is an air fire person or an air water person. So if you're meeting overly emotional Aquarius, that's what you're dealing with. I guess it's kind of weird because people aren't used to that. So it's like we look kind of like a unicorn. And even with me, I have a lot of emotion, and people can see. Like one thing somebody told me when they first met me, she was like, "I had no idea you were so animated," and that's all that emotional energy. So it is there with a lot of us. So if you meet an overly emotional Aquarius, more than likely is one of those three things going on with that person. And if it's air, fire, or air, water, it's up to you if you want to deal with them. I done told you what it's like. It's up to you. And if the person is emotionally disturbed, just tread carefully. Tread very, very carefully. Because I'm sure all of you know emotionally disturbed people who have told lies, pulled all kinds of deceptive things, stole money, all kind of things. They do anything. So just be really careful with those types of people if they're Aquarius or not. Okay, guys. All right, so that's the overly emotional Aquarius, and it's time for me to get going. So if you know somebody who's interested in knowing why their Aquarius is so emotional when they're not supposed to be, please tell them to watch this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please, 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 and pass it on to somebody else. Likewise, if you guys want to send me a love donation, I will leave my PayPal. Thank you all for every donation you ever gave me. Ever, ever, ever. Thank you so much. Some people want to send me gifts. If you want to send me a present, I will leave my Amazon wish list. I have not all, but many of the things that I really, really want, And one of them is the Sword of Gryffindor that I just found yesterday on Amazon. Likewise, if you would like to get a tarot or oracle card reading, or if you want me to do your astrological chart, you can email me for an appointment. Okay? Now, astrological charts take me about a week or two to do because I have a lot of different things to do. But some people ask me to do their chart and then do a detailed explanation, about 8 to 10 pages, where I break down what it's talking about. So if you want one of those, you can email me. I'll be glad to do it for you. Likewise, let me see. If you want the answer to a free general question, you can email me or you can drop it underneath this video. And let's see. If you want to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, I will leave that information as well. And I think that's everything. So thank you for joining me, and thank you for being a wonderful group to be around and to talk to and to experience. Thank you for all the great conversations in the comment section, and I'll be seeing you later. See you later.